There's Masters. Great chance here. That does it. Steve McGavin. And for the first time, Colchester United have won a major final.
Still Garcia, finally the company arrives and it's in! It's a freak-out goal from Ricardo Carvalho. Richard Garcia wants the credit and the shock is on at the bridge.
And it's promotion for Colchester United. They've made it into the Championship for the first time in 69 years.
Porter, being held. There is Porter, and that's Walker!
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Barside, the podcast that follows all things Colchester United. I am Aaron J. A big thank you to those who are listening and subscribing on YouTube, Apple and Spotify. You're doing us a huge favour there, but no more than those who are sharing the podcast on social media on Facebook, X and Instagram. Thank you very much. Spreading the word to as many Col U fans as possible. And it's been another busy week for Colchester United. The U's picked up a point in a 1-1 draw with Bristol Rovers, while the women's side continued their brilliant FA Cup run with a big win over Enfield. We've got plenty to get into. So first up, I caught up with Si, Dave and Max after the Bristol Rovers game to go over the 1-1 draw and share our thoughts on how the U's performed. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to Beyond the Barside. I'm joined as ever by Si and Dave and U's fans. Max, how are you doing, guys?
Leaving Aaron?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yourself?
Very well, thank you. Very well. See, Max asked how I was, you two, which, doesn't hurt, does it?
Okay, Aaron, all right. Tell everyone what you did this afternoon.
The newbies have been polite.
Yeah, newbie. I like it. I did a half marathon this afternoon.
Which you hate telling people about.
I hated it. Well, it was at Portman Road as well, which wasn't.
Was it?
Yeah.
Why have you not got your finishers t-shirt on and your medal around your neck?
I've got the finishers t-shirt on. Yeah, I have got the finishers t-shirt on.
You've
for
the medal, mate.
For the Eagle-Eyed, I actually did a 10K a couple of weeks ago and wore the finishers t-shirt for that on that episode as well. So I will continue to do that whenever I get a finishers t-shirt. Anyway, we're not talking about me. We are talking Bristol Rovers. The U's drew 1-1. The U's on top for large periods of the game. It seemed a lot more positive. Night and day compared to the Accrington Stanley defeat. I thought the U's looked really good. I thought we were quite hard done by not to come away with 3 points. Dave, do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely right. We wanted a response. I think we got a response. A lot of good performances. You say hard done by Aaron. I say do your job.
Yeah,
that's my theme. But no, it was what we wanted to see. We predicted, you and me predicted, Aaron, a spirited draw, and that's what we got. And we were the better team. It followed the same pattern as Crewe, really. So there's, over the course of those 2 games, there's 4 points that we really should have taken. But good performances all over. I thought Mbik was unbelievable.
Yes,
up front.
We'll get on to Mbik, I think, a little bit later, just to really give him his flowers, because I thought, he had a really good game, and for an 18-year-old lad to come in for his first start for the U's, I don't know whether it's his first league start professionally.
I think it was first league goal, certainly.
Yeah, definitely his first league goal, wasn't it?
I mean, he was fantastic. But you're right in terms of the doing your job. The U's created some really good chances, some lovely opportunities, a few good saves from Southwood in the Bristol Rovers goal, and some questionable finishing at times. We'll go with you, Max. What did you think of the U's attacking threat?
I absolutely thought we created loads of chances, and I thought we were really unlucky not to win. In all honesty, I felt like another day, Paris Lisby, he had a couple of one-on-one chances throughout the game. Could have taken them. I think he's such an exciting player to watch as well. Just shame he couldn't get that goal. I've got to say, Embiid is brilliant as well, I thought, too. It's just frustrating. Obviously, Bristol Rovers didn't really think to create much. They still got the goal, So, seems to be, in some ways, I've still the season so far, I think. But no, I've got to say, a big response this weekend in comparison to the Accrington game. I feel so sorry for people who got up so early, to go and see the game, over in Accrington, and they saw that. I was staying at home, but I still paid, 15 quid to Sky to watch it. I wanted my money back. But no, honestly, like, it was a big response. Very unlucky not to get 3 points, I thought. We go again at Fleetwood at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, and night and day compared to the Accrington performance, and feeling sorry for the people that travelled. Two of them are in this conversation right now, and for those of you that watched last week, they were both raging, understandably so. So, completely get where you're coming from there. Obviously, at one end of the pitch, we were a bit more positive, although we weren't particularly finishing the chances that we had. It was a lovely little finish from Embiid. There was a lovely little moment towards the end of the game where Kyrie's cuts it back, and it's just a little bit behind Sampson, and we couldn't quite get that finish. But at the other end of the pitch, Tom Smith comes in as Matt Macy hasn't quite met the requirements of the concussion protocol. I thought he had a fairly decent game.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, he's probably an ideal player to have as number 2. Danny's come out and said in his interview he trains like a Trojan week in, week out, really good spot. But I don't think he gets enough credit sometimes. The fact that he's always there, doing the warm ups, appreciates the fans, and does push Macy to be the best he can be. And even when Macy got injured at Accrington, Smith's first thoughts were to Macy's well-being rather than, oh, good, I'm going to get a game now. Let's see how it goes. But he's a very safe pair of hands. He's got good distribution. And yeah, I think we could do a lot worse than having him as a backup when realistically he'd probably get into most teams as number 1 in our division.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively, we look much better with Orjo coming back into the centre rather than that left-back performance at Accrington. See, potentially maybe the midfield didn't quite work. Maybe they could have pushed Tucker into midfield. As also, I know it's not just me that's saying that nowadays.
It's go.
No, never, mate. It's a hill I'm going to die on one day. But I think the problem we've got is, yes, it was a best performance, but again, we were not clinical enough, and this is what is going to cost us. Embiid was much better than potentially what Sampson offers, and also I do think over the last 2 games, there's a case for Lisby to not be starting. I think he offers more from the bench. I hate to be that guy that puts him down.
I don't know. The problem, it is a tricky one, whichever way Danny goes, there'll be people arguing against it. But I actually thought it was an argument to play him from the start because he got those chances.
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously the one he made it himself, that one right at the start. Again, put it straight at the keeper. He had another one where I think the header that he didn't quite get to, maybe an experience thing. He took a half step just before he threw himself at it, but that'll come. And I think the one at the end that he cut back, tried to get Sampson in. I think if that was the first chance, he has to go himself. I think it had got in his head. He had one just before that where he was offside, and he was given offside, but he'd gone clean through again and not scored. And it was just before. So I think it was all in his head, and he was just trying to make absolutely sure. But I get where you're coming from, Si. But I actually think what he did up until that point, all day, was what you want him to do, what you want him on the pitch.
But yeah, I think if he'd come on as a sub, he'd have scored those chances. But again, it's all hindsight. But what I was really annoyed to hear is we've got yet another injury in our wingers. Akande managed to get himself injured during a finishing drill. That's got to be a first way to pick up an injury, isn't it?
Yeah, non-contact.
Dave had a voodoo doll out though. That's why he's. I'm
not. I want them to do well. Don't characterise me like this. But no, it's a bit. But Anderson came back in and did a real Anderson performance.
Yeah.
I think he drove a lot of the team. And interesting, he was on the left in front of Powell. And just going back to defence, I thought Powell had his strongest game in a couple of ways, because we've in the past not criticised it, but like his physicality is just something that's not something he needs to work on his game. He's a young player, starting in league football for the first time. But I thought yesterday he went up 2 or 3 levels in that respect. He was going up, and he was going up against their number 9, whose name escapes me, who went off injured just after they scored before half time. He was a real physical specimen. He was going up against him. He was putting himself in the way of a lot of those crossfield passes that were coming from, really getting stuck in. So I thought, yeah, physically he went up a couple of levels yesterday, and it was good to see him really trying to get forward.
I think Anton helped him, didn't he? Because he got
Exactly,
his experience, isn't he?
Exactly, yeah.
And that really paid off. I think he's been guided through the game quite nicely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you made the point of Lisby creating those chances and not being able to finish them off. Yeah, I agree with the header. I think that came down to an experience type thing. But the thing that really stood out with Kyrese Lisby, and it's obviously stood out a few times that he's played, is quite how quick he is. I mean, there were a couple of instances. There was one in the first half where he's got no business winning the ball in the chase. The ball's been sort of knocked into the right-hand corner, and it looks like an easy sort of no pressure clearance for the fullback. And Kyrese has beat him to the ball, and that sort of surprised the fullback. It surprised me. I was sort of right in line with it. And second half, he played a ball through to Kane Vincent-Young and then caught up with it when he went to overlap Kane Vincent-Young. He sort of just took the ball off his toes almost before it even got there. So his pace is definitely that natural asset that's going to allow him to get into these opportunities and create these opportunities and chances. And if we can get the finishing right and get the finishing a bit more consistent, we've got a heck of a player that's going to be a huge asset to us. But we'll move forward. We'll speak about Micah Embick. It was a bold call, I think, starting him ahead of Samson. Although I don't think Samson's had the best run of games. And it was commented on the last episode that we spoke so much about Aurora Edwards. Samson sort of went under the radar a little bit. Embiid came in, put himself about brilliantly, chased for everything, jumped for everything, put his head in, put his feet in, put his chest in for everything. When the ball was played directly to him in that sort of target man role, he caught it on his head, he caught it on his chest, he was able to flick the ball on, he brought people into the game, and then he sort of caps that performance off with a goal, and it was a neat finish. I mean, it was fairly straightforward, but, Colchester have missed them, so
really well worked goal.
It was a really well worked goal, and, the run of form that we've sort of had, you don't necessarily back us to score it at the end of that move.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was a real assured debut for Micah Embiid. I think I'm going to go around the group and just talk about him a little bit, give him his flowers. Dave, do you want to get us going?
Well, everything you said, just the whole what you want from a lone striker, which is what he effectively is in the formation. And he was he seemed to have a real appreciation for the game as well. There were a couple of times he got the ball down from relatively difficult passes and used his body really well. A couple of times got on the turn and played some really clever passes, or diagonal, which is really good to see. And I think he was one thing someone mentioned, and then I couldn't unsee it quite early on in the game, is the fact that he was really relentless. The defenders didn't have a moment's peace from him.
Mm-hmm.
And something that Samson gets criticised for, and I think we all get frustrated with at times, is how often he's not standing up. He's on the floor. And there was none of that from Mbik. I think some of it is overblown with Samson sometimes, but I do appreciate and I do feel that frustration sometimes with him. And there was none of that from Mbik. And they were constantly under pressure from him. And I think it influenced how they played. Mm. And so, yeah, he in just with and without the ball, I think he's made himself, well, he's a Colchester striker, so every chance he gets injured in training between now and Fleetwood. But I think he's made himself kind of undroppable for next week.
Absolutely. I think you've made a very good point there. It's hard to drop him based on the performance and the resulting sort of goal that he got. He did everything he was asked to do, but obviously that does raise question marks over Samson Tavide, Max. Do you think that lights a little bit of a fire underneath Tavide? Do you think he comes in to training this week and fights to get his place back in the side?
Well, you certainly hope so. Ultimately, healthy competition is great. It's what you want, in any team. So, yeah, I've got to say, I think with Envik, to be honest, he was just comfortable. He seemed so comfortable. You almost forgot he was just an 18-year-old striker on loan, making his full professional start of his career. It was a real composed performance, I thought, from him. And, we've been very unlucky with our strikers, I think, both sides of the season in terms of, injuries and, across the whole squad. So the fact that, we've now got someone in, who scored a goal, you like to think, right, Samson needs to work hard now to make sure he gets his place back in the team. And then when he gets his scoring group on.
Yeah, definitely. And you make the point of obviously he's 18 years old. He's a big lad for an 18-year-old. I mean, he's tall, he's broad, he's quick when he gets going. I don't know whether that's sort of he sort of accelerates, doesn't he, into a top speed. He doesn't necessarily, he's not like a Kyrie's where it's instant. He sort of builds up that speed. And I think that was evident whenever we tried to knock it in front of him. That wasn't particularly useful for him. But when we got the ball directly to him, he won it and did something with it, which was really positive. Si, what were your views on Micah?
No, definitely. I think he's come into the side, also this side that's been down on goals. So there's a little bit of pressure on him to prove himself, not only score goals for a team that's not doing very well, but also to show why he should be starting at 18. And yeah, he's silenced all his critics. To be fair, I think he was very, very unlucky if he doesn't start against Fleetwood. He's shown why he should, why he can. And if he doesn't, there's not much more the poor bloke could do to get a starting spot. Obviously, as he gets older, he gets more experience. Those rough edges will peter off. But yeah, no, absolutely fantastic for his first start for us. Big call from Danny for the amount of changes he's made. I think the only one he can do now going forward is potentially bring Ronnie Harvey in to start. I think he's the same sort of thing as Mbik, where he's young, but he's got the experience, head on his shoulders, and will play nice, calm, relaxed football as his style.
So
that's your second hill, isn't it?
Ronnie Harvey comes in as the second hill.
Yeah.
I mean, a midfield duo of Ronnie Harvey and Jack Tucker would be Si's dream.
Yeah. Yes, Ronnie Harvey's the mound Si would die on.
To be fair, if you had like Ronnie Harvey and Jack Tucker, then we had Jalen Williams or Payne, and then we had in front of that Mbik. It's like, well, we've completed football, haven't we? We just all just go home.
So Si is advocating a Harvey Tucker centre mid.
No, I'm very, 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 very sure that would not work.
I don't know. For those who aren't watching the YouTube feed, Si is on holiday on his balcony, maybe enjoying some local beverages.
No. If I was doing that, I'd probably be saying that Gabe should be starting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, Gabe, obviously, yeah. But there's two things really.
I've
Some
thrown you out there
bold
massively, haven't
calls.
I, Aaron?
You have, yeah. You've thrown the curveball out there. So there's two main talking points. One is obviously there were some big changes made to the lineup. I don't think it was overly surprising, and it was something that we predicted in the previous episode. And he drops Gape. He goes back to the Reed and Bishop duo, which I thought worked quite well.
Best they've played together.
Yeah, honestly.
Absolutely. He drops Rob Hunt, which did surprise me, and brings in
me
Kane
too.
Vincent Young. I thought Hunt had been sort of Mr. Consistent over the course of the season so far. I know he gets his critics online. I don't necessarily agree with some of those critics. So I was surprised to see him dropped. I wasn't too shocked about Araujo and Tucker being in the middle, and obviously that does mean that Powell plays on the left-hand side. And then it was a question mark over Harry Anderson coming in, but obviously he seems fine now. I mean, we're still none the wiser of what the injury was, given that he was doing quite vigorous fitness sessions in front of the fans before the games, that he wasn't fit enough to play. So it was good to see Harry Anderson back in, and I agree. I thought he put an absolute shift in, and I think the fact it was against Bristol Rovers probably gave him a bit more motivation not to have a howler, given his history there. And obviously dropping Samson Tavide for Micah Mbic was a massive call. But he did bring on Ronnie Harvey-Sy, as you must have been gutted, really, being in Tenerife, not being there in person to watch him make his first steps into the Football League. How are you feeling, mate?
I was there in spirit for him, bless him. I know sounds really stupid, but it's almost like, watching him play for the younger age groups and seeing him at pre-season, how he's developed into the first team squad. I was gutted to miss his first substitute appearance, but I'll make sure I'm there for his first start, which hopefully will be in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, it's almost like I feel like a proud parent. Bear in mind, I don't even know the guy. But you just kind of have that feeling, like, you feel like you can see as a guy who's a good footballer and just making the progress that's expected. And yeah, every time he makes a step, he does it well and doesn't do himself any disservice. And yeah, I think there's a lot more to come from him. And hopefully we can enjoy him in a Colchester shirt for a few more seasons.
Yeah, he looks comfortable, doesn't he, when he comes on?
Really assured.
Just going back to the starting lineup. Don't know if you heard after the game, Danny mentioned that Gape had been unwell in the week. Would have been interesting to see whether, if that hadn't played a factor, he would have started him. So I don't think he should have started, as we mentioned in the previous pod, based on the Accrington game. And it was good to see Reed and Bishop. It was Bishop's best game of the season. I thought he had a big influence on the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Reed is just, sort of almost back, I think, to season before last. Player of the season, Reed. This really able to
Reed, I like to call him.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen an Arthur Reed of old since he started growing his hair out. I think he needs to shave his head again.
He's the anti-Samson. Not Savido, the mythical. But yeah, and it was nice to see Jack Payne get an assist as well.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Danny said about that? How Nicky's been on to Jack Payne about making those sort of passes?
Yeah. Just doing a bit quicker. I think at times we delayed too much. And that was noticeable as well. I think especially from the fullback areas when they got forward, they did get it in a little bit quicker. Powell, the quality wasn't quite there. We sort of needed to sort of recalibrate to sort of come back 3 or 4 yards to be in that corridor between the keeper and the back. But it was good to see him getting out of positions, and that'll come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest, I think the starting lineup was right. I don't think anyone put in a poor shift. I think everyone did their job within reason, and they put themselves around.
One vital moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Kane Vincent Young did it. He has won a game, doesn't he? Where it was in
the back pass
in front of the West Stand. He just turned around under no pressure and put the guy in.
Yeah, it was a hell of a ball. If it was the other way around, it would have been a beautiful
You
ball
couldn't
in.
believe his luck, the guy. It was, if he'd have been prepared for it, which you can't be, because why on earth would anyone do that?
I think
He would have been, he'd have been
the
in.
linesman was thinking about putting his flag
Yeah,
up. He was like, surely that wasn't the Colchester player that's put
yeah.
that through.
But luckily, it's
Anyway,
just that one.
I thought it was a much improved performance. We'll summarise the performance with our one word review. So we'll go around the group. Dave, what's your one word to summarise that performance?
Response, as in we needed a response, we wanted a response, and I think we got it with that performance.
Yeah, I like it. Max, what are you going for?
Positive, I think. Bristol Rovers seem like they're going to be a strong team in the league this season, and we're in a better team, just enough not to win.
Yeah, definitely. Two great responses. Pressure's on side. What are you going for?
Disappointing. No, because I feel, there's a lot of positives there, but it was still a game we should have won. It's 1 point, 2 points dropped rather than 1 point gained. And I've said it before that we're very unclinical. And this is shows again what I mean is we do everything right, but we can't finish. And no matter what Danny gets blamed for about whether it's tactics or this, he can only do so much. Once they cross that white line, it's down to them. I think Danny got his tactics spot on. We just weren't able to capitalise on the areas we were in, and then obviously we got punished on the break. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, no, again, 2 points lost as opposed to a point gained is very fair as well. But when you compare it to the Accrington game, it's easy to see why people are a bit more chipper and positive.
It's a much more positive version of disappointment this week than last week, certainly.
Absolutely.
This week is angry. Sorry, it's disappointed, not angry. But last week was just pure anger.
Yeah, it was rage last week. Guys, lovely to speak to you post Bristol Rovers, and I'll catch up with you all a little bit later when we talk Fleetwood.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, guys.
Huge thank you to Si, Dave and Max there for sharing their thoughts. And next, it's over to the women's team who saw off Enfield Town to book their place into the third qualifying round. I spoke to Hughes fan Connor to get his lowdown on the performance and what lies ahead. Welcome back to Beyond the Barside. I am joined by Hughes fan Connor. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So, we're talking Colchester United women. It was a very big fixture at the weekend. The U's took on Enfield Town, who are a step above. They're playing in the Eastern Premier League, and they faced each other in the FA Cup second qualifying round. The U's came out with a 2-1 win. You were at the game. How was the game?
Yeah, it was really good. Very hard fought, but yeah, it was really good. Obviously, the result we wanted. The cup run continues. So it's looking good. It's looking good.
It's looking good. Yeah, the cup run continues. We go into the third qualifying round against London Bees, which is a slight step up in level there, with London Bees being a fairly established side and having that home there at the Hive that they share with Barnet. How are you feeling going into the third qualifying round?
I think if we play the way we definitely started at the weekend, we're going to give them a good run for their money, even though they are from, I think it's 2 leagues above. And as you said, they're a well-established side. So, and I think all we've got to do is, enjoy the day really as well. It's our first time in the FA Cup since the team restarted. So to make it already to the third qualifying round is a really good, showing from the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it shows that Colchester United are here to make a mark, and we're here to progress, and we're here to develop as a side. Neve and Louise both alluded to that when I spoke to them earlier on in the season. But you were at the Enfield game. It was a decent result. It was a 2-1 win. Talk me through the performance.
It was good. We started off really strongly, as we did the week before. It was like the same starting lineup. Started strong. had to obviously get used to the side being from a higher league and sort of how they're going to play. And which I think, after about 20 minutes, we sort of, got to know them quite well. They seemed to go for a bit of a surprisingly like defensive way of playing and then looking to counter-attack us. Because they did have some very good strikers, very quick strikers. So they were looking for like long balls. And we shut that down, after 20 minutes. And then, settled down, tried to attack as much as possible. And eventually, we were rewarded with a goal in the first half. Maybe could have had a couple more, but again, team from a higher league, they had a very good keeper who stopped some really, really good shots. There was one that we thought, let's go straight into the top corner, and still don't know how, but she got a hand to it. So, only went into the break 1-0 up, and we felt like it could have been a bit more. Second half again, we came out strong. Conceded, unfortunately, maybe after 5 or 10 minutes, but bounced back again with lots of pressure from, I believe it was like I think it was Lexi, right back, constantly, lots of throw-ins, lots of crosses, corners, and eventually, led to another goal. And then we had to hold on because we had Enfield throwing everything at us. I think they swapped their whole formation from a very defensive to a very attacking side for the last sort of 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, and it was a great win to round off a good performance, and obviously we move into the third qualifying round of the FA Cup, but it's a new league that the U's are in as well. I spoke to Neve last week and sort of asked where she thought the U's would end up in the league this season. She went with top 3, although she felt that some people thought that they might win the whole thing. Where are you thinking? How would you feel that the U's will get on this season?
Again, I reckon definitely 100% top half. Top 3 I reckon is very realistic. And I think Neve said this as well. It's a league that anyone can win.
Mm-hmm.
There was a result at the weekend with 2 other teams we thought perhaps wouldn't go that way, and it did. So I think, anything could happen. But I'd be very happy with top 3, definitely, for sure.
Amazing. And obviously it's a side that's on an upward trajectory. We've obviously made the 2 promotions. We're there in the FA Cup. It's a team that's on the rise. It's constantly developing, new players coming in all the time that are sort of improving the standard of the squad as we go. The JobServe Community Stadium currently hosts Ipswich Town for their home fixtures, and it's been sort of noted within the Colchester side that we're maybe not at the point where we can play at the JobServe Community Stadium yet. But how important is it that U's fans go along and support the women's side so that we can eventually get to that point?
Oh, yeah, it's so important, isn't it? The more people that come and watch at the Garrison, the more showing to, the powers that be that we could, have, a crowd to support playing at the stadium. Because I think that's simply it, isn't it? At the end of the day, they're trying to think, if we're going to play at the stadium, is it viable? Because, how many people are going to walk through the door and be able to cover essentially, I guess, the costs really. But the Garrison's a great home now at the moment, so you can't fault that at all. And the fact that at the moment it's still free to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they ask for a little donation, but it comes with a bit of a raffle draw. So sometimes you could win a prize out of it, like signed shirt, signed ball, day experience or a match fixture for, a little one or something. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And you've sort of alluded to it there with the previous answer, but what would you say to anyone that's sort of umming and ahhing about going to watch the Col-U women's side?
Oh, definitely come. It's, like I said, Graveson's a great venue. It's great football to watch. And it's such a welcoming experience as well. We have a great sort of background staff as well for the team who are on the gates welcoming people in, and they're happy to help with any sort of questions or anything like that going on.
Brilliant. It sounds like a great time to be a Colchester United fan, especially when we're starting from the grassroots and hopefully making our way into the more senior professional game as we progress. Connor, it's been lovely to chat to you, and thank you for sharing your thoughts about the women's side, and hopefully we can chat again soon within the season after a few more victories.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. And to finish off, I brought in Si, Dave and Max to look ahead to the Fleetwood game and what we can expect this afternoon. Welcome back to Beyond the Barside. I'm Aaron J and we are talking ahead of the Fleetwood clash. I'm joined by Si, Dave and Max. How are you doing, guys?
Good, thanks, Aaron.
Good, mate. Good, thank you, buddy.
Good stuff. So we are away at Fleetwood this coming Saturday. A side that are in a little bit of mixed form. They lost to Cambridge United 2-1 on Saturday. We've played a bit more of we're coming off the back of a more positive performance at home to Bristol Rovers. It's potentially a game that Colchester should be looking at and taking the game to Fleetwood. I guess it depends on which Colchester United turn up. But Dave, we'll start with you. How are you feeling ahead of the Fleetwood clash?
Well, similar to how I felt going into the Accrington clash after we played well against Crewe and didn't win. But I do think it's certainly a game we should be looking at to win, to go out to win. And for that reason, I actually, jumping ahead to sort of predicted team, I wouldn't change anything from that starting lineup.
Including Macy?
Oh, actually, that's a good point. I'll bring Macy back in if he passes. But of the outfield players, Aaron, I wouldn't change anything. I'd keep it exactly the same. They played with positivity, intent. A few players in there put in their best performances of the season so far, I think, in Bishop and came into Young when he wasn't sending Bristol Rovers strikers away. Powell. And obviously Young and Bick up front. So yeah, just like one thing we mentioned about the Accrington game was the surprising amount of churn in that starting lineup. I know there were a couple of enforced, but there were quite a few that weren't. Mm-hmm. And we did have momentum coming from a good performance against Crewe. So yeah, I think keep it the same.
Mm-hmm. No, fair enough. And we obviously spoke about Matt Macy just then, Max coming in and reclaiming his spot. It's a very cruel position to be in as a goalkeeper because Tom Smith's come in, done his job, not done anything wrong, and he sort of then falls back to the bench. But do you agree that Matt Macy comes in as the number one again?
Yeah, probably. No, I agree with what I've just said. I think the 10 outfield players kind of have to stay out, obviously, for the Fleetwood game. I agree, it would be harsh on Tom Smith because he didn't have a bad game at all. And I think even Daddy Cowley has said in the past, how important Tom Smith is, especially like the change room, picking up, people who maybe a bit down a bit in places, being a bit of a motivator. So it's obviously like a good body to have around the club and around the players and that. But no, Matt Macy was brilliant last season. Obviously, defensively, we were very strong last season too. I think it was over 20 league clean sheets he got last season as well.
21, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's just incredible. So I feel like Macy's got the experience. He, demands a lot. So I'd definitely keep him as soon as he's possibly able to get back in goal.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I agree. I think obviously when you've got a number one with the quality and of the caliber of Matt Macy, it is very difficult to leave them out when they're available. But yeah, of course, the value of Tom Smith sort of extends beyond him actually playing on the pitch, and I think that's important to note as well.
You make a good point, Max. Danny made a real concerted effort just to tell everyone exactly what Tom Smith brings to the club. Almost like okay, thanks Tom, but you are on the bench next week.
Tom Smith is the League Two Scott Carson.
Okay, expand.
So I don't know. Obviously, everyone knows Scott Carson's played like 2 minutes and somehow has got X amount of medals, including Champions League winners and God knows what
Yeah.
else. But if you listen to what Pep was saying about him, it's what he brings to training every day. It's what he brings to the warm up. And Tom Smith does exactly the same as that. You see him in the warm up; he's so keen to acknowledge the fans. He's always wishing Macy well. He's going around the lads before the game. He's on the touchline during the game, arguing with the full official. He just brings so much more than just a goalkeeper. And I think this must be, like we've obviously said, that's what Danny sees in him. And that's why he's happy being the number two, because he knows how valued he is. And obviously, when we need him, he's there to stand in. So, yeah, he will get put back on the bench for Macy's come in. But other than that, agreed with exactly what David and Max said. There's why change what's not broken.
Yeah,
Until someone gets
definitely.
injured this week of training.
Definitely.
Sorry,
Go ahead, Max. Go for it.
I was just going to say, I think it's got more of an important role off the pitch as well, because obviously we've lost quite a few more experience in leaders, obviously in the team. There's some obviously with Lyle Taylor going and Kelleher going as well. So I know Danny Cowley again was saying, he wants other players to step up, and Tom Smith's got the perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that does sort of bring me on to the next point as well. Fleetwood is reasonably experienced side. They've obviously got an experienced manager in Pete Wild in charge. They've got, players like James Norwood that have done the rounds throughout the leagues. They've obviously got experience and leadership in their squad. We've mentioned that there's a little bit of a not necessarily a lack of leadership, but uncertainty in terms of where that leadership comes from. Do you think that sort of experience goes against us in league games, Dave?
Well, I think we've had a couple of examples recently where it has. Barnett's a very good example of that. No one really took the second half by the scruff of the neck and calmed everyone down, kept them playing the football. And you can see Danny on the touchline in that game getting quite frustrated at that as well. And I think, Accrington, there was one of the big things about that. And again, that we mentioned, no, we're lacking leaders, but again, no Flanagan, no Anderson. It really showed. Really showed. So, but as players get more experienced, I mean, if Teddy Bishop can sort of keep this momentum going, just by the way he plays and the way he does take games on himself, that will start to come through. And yeah, you can tell when we come up against teams who do have that experience. I think Cambridge was a good example as well. They really showed us how to play that sort of game.
Don Ball ran the game, didn't he?
Exactly, and their fullbacks as well were really, really, really clever with how they approached it. So yeah, it's something we have to work on. I'm sure it's something, whether it be at the moment with free agents or when we get to January, that is certainly something that Danny and Nick are going to be looking at very closely.
Yeah, because obviously they spoke to John with the Gazette about free agents, and we've got someone training with us. I don't know whether they're still training with us at the moment, but they certainly were. And Danny made it clear that he wasn't averse to dipping into the free agency market. Max, do you think there's anywhere in particular the U's could do with bolstering?
To be honest, I think it depends on the injuries at the moment. Obviously we were out with Idola, who was out for a bit. I'm going to be the guy who says it as well. Obviously, Ben Perry is coming into replace Jenny McDonald. He's out for the season.
Ding, 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 ding.
There we go.
Wasn't me.
That guy. I had to be that guy. I'm so sorry. But no,
And you can't replace Jay McDonald. You can't replace him.
No, absolutely not. I'd probably say, I'd probably go somewhere up front. I know we're singing the praises of like the V-Day and of the Olympic well. But we haven't just got many goals for the season so far. So I probably have to go somewhere along the lines of that. Defensively, we haven't conceded many, but just like one clean sheet and none, I think it's so far this season. But I think clean sheets will come over time. I think it's just a case of just getting the goals in, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And there were some sort of rumours flying about on who that free agent was. Some people suggested it was Britta Sombalonga. Some people suggested it was Connor Wickham. Some people suggested that it was Manny over on X. So
actually, sorry, I'm just thinking about it. I'm still not convinced. And like going back to what Max was saying about, we're not conceding many, but we're not as secure as we were last year. I don't actually think they're convinced about the fullbacks. Right back in particular. Obviously, we've got Ellis to come back at left back. Powell is growing into the role at left back, but I agree. Hunt, I've got no problem with Rob Hunt. I think he's a solid, consistent performer. I don't think he's a high level performer potentially for teams who necessarily want to be going for promotion, but and came, as we saw yesterday, Kane Vincent-Young can be erratic. So I actually think if they are looking anywhere at the moment, they're probably looking for a fullback.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting because obviously I suppose when we brought Powell in, that sort of suggested that the fullback roles were sort of done and dusted, and no more additions in that front. But yeah, I don't disagree with the points you're making, both of you, and I think there's certainly areas that we could look at bolstering over time. But moving into the Fleetwood game, Si, we've spoke about sticking to principles, and you said last week that you felt that the way Colchester had been playing with the Route 1 balls to sort of nowhere, and we sort of panic when we're in possession, you sort of felt that wasn't anything like the principles that Danny and Nikki are wanting to implement. We seem to be a bit closer to those principles on Saturday. Would you agree?
Oh, definitely. I think the proof of that is how the goal was worked, how we just sort of win the ball, dominate the midfield, and then play obviously that lovely ball through to Embiid, who, yeah, if he hadn't missed it, it would have been quite worrying. But also, like we said before, we have seen that happen. Yeah, I think to be fair, he's been forced into the changes in back four. You have to keep that the same, and I think that will help us have a good platform to build on this whole slow build up. So then to beat the press or go through the lines, they'll just then play the ball into feet. And to be fair, like I've already alluded to when we're talking about the last game, the tactics were working because we were creating the chances. That's then down to the players to be better and then putting those chances away. There's only so much the management can do. Yes, they can work on training, they can work on finishing, they can work on this, they can work on that. But once the players cross the line, it's down to them. They can't kick the ball for them. And the system was much more us at the weekend, much more positive, much more front-footed. And if we can take that to Fleetwood against a side that we don't really know what we're going to be up against, because Fleetwood are a bit 50-50, good one week, poor the next week, I think we stand a very good chance of playing well if we can now add the finishing touches. And the only thing that counts in football is the goals. That's why this season we've lost too many points from not being able to do the basics, as Dave says.
No, definitely. And obviously I spoke to Max and Dave about what they thought the team selection would be. Would you make any changes, Si?
No, I wouldn't.
Other than Harvey and Tucker, obviously.
Yeah. So to be fair, if we need goals, we both play Tucker up front, couldn't we?
Yeah,
Let's go.
I don't know if you're joking.
No, I am joking about that one, trust me. Anyway, to be fair to Tucker, obviously the reason I've been saying that is because at times when we had everyone fit, there was an argument about who we're going to fit into those two centre-back spots. And my take on that was, well, if you need to, you could always move Tucker forward. That allows him to play defensive midfielder, which we needed after Perry's injured, while allowing others to play in the centre-backs. Now we've got all his injuries, he needs to be that back four. Especially as standing captain, he leads that line, he's got to be there, he's got to be the vocal, and he's growing into the leadership role. And he is, yeah, to be fair, I can't see many different trades. The reason Cambridge Young came in for Hunt I felt it was because Lisby was playing that side. He wanted someone with a bit more pace to be able to keep up with him and actually interact with him with the overlaps, because it would have been quite interesting to see Hunt running around after Lisby and trying to overlap him, because I don't think if there's a chance, personally.
No.
Yeah, so why we were moaning the team didn't work at Accrington. The team worked minus the finishing. So yeah, let's keep it the same. And to be fair, even if Macy's 50-50, I'd still play Smith. Just bring back Macy when he's 100%, not an err on the side of caution towards him.
Yeah, completely fair enough as well, especially given the fact that it was a head injury and we were following a concussion protocol. It doesn't hurt to err on the side of caution there, but we'll make our predictions. Dave, Fleetwood, fairly inconsistent. We've come off a half decent performance. What are you thinking?
I don't know if I'm just conditioned to this. Like,
Draw.
Pavlovian, 1-1. Just got 1 in my head. That's all I can hear.
Ding.
No other numbers exist. I think, yeah, I'm going for 1-1.
That's fair. I would also go for 1-1, so I don't disagree with you, Dave. Max, what are you thinking, mate?
I was going to say the same, but for the purpose of being a little bit different, I'll go 1-0 to Colchester.
1-0 Colchester, I like it. More positive and a clean sheet. You did say the clean sheets would come, Max, so I like the fact that you're backing it with your predictions. Si, what are you thinking?
3-1 Colchester. We'll go behind, then we'll come back. Embick will score a brace, and Harvey will come on and supply the assist to the winner.
And then he runs over to the away end and he taps his badge and he points up at Si. And
Who's in Tenerife?
Who's in Tenerife? All right.
He points in the
gets down on his knees and he points up to the sky. And he goes, that's
I'm not dead yet.
Oh, God. What happened to Si Tenerife?
Come on, man.
Well, he flew there, didn't he? He flew there. Yeah, I wasn't making any wild predictions about Si's health and well-being.
Yeah, we've done the score. Let's predict Si's holiday.
Yeah, so it's been very enjoyable taking part in this podcast, and everyone, I wish you all well for the future. And yeah, enjoy supporting Colchester. This is my last outing.
Are we going to predict Si's holiday? I reckon Si is going to get through 50 pints by the end. How long are you there for? A week?
You're there till Sunday, so 8 days.
8 days, 80 pints by the end. Of the holiday.
I can't afford to get divorced again.
Okay, fair enough. I thought we'd round this episode off because obviously, Max, there is an interesting shirt behind you in a frame. You don't see many outfield shirts with number 1 on the back, but you do see it on the back of someone in particular. You were Eddie the Eagle for a bit, weren't you?
I was, mate, yeah, but I never like to talk about it.
You put that GIF up the match today every bloody week.
Is that actually you in the GIF doing the dance?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that was when BBC came down. Oh, like for the Tottenham game. I think it was the FA Cup. You lost 4-1 to him, like Harry Kane and that was down. But yeah, I was the mascot for about 17.5 years or so at the club, and yeah, it was great fun. I absolutely loved it, and it was brilliant time.
So, did you come into the club purely to be Eddie, or were you already working for the club at the time?
Oh no! So I was actually my official first role was match day activities team member. So obviously we have I was helping out little fun activities the club would do for the fans on the match days. And the previous guy was doing very well at the club. He was climbing, and he was also the mascot at the time too. He just offered it to me 6 months into my time there, and I said, yeah, no problem, I'll do it. And it was fantastic.
Brilliant.
Was it way hotter than you thought?
Oh yeah, I remember the April May matches were boiling, and also we did quite a lot of things in the off season as well. So we go into summer fakes of school fairs and bits and pieces. And I'd be 9 till 5 penalty shootout against the Eddie the Eagle goalkeeper kind of thing, 25 degrees at least. So yeah, they were a lot. But I've got to say, November, it was lovely. November, Tuesday night, I think I was the only warm person inside that stadium.
Were you responsible for the upkeep of the suit?
No. Again, that's all. That's still the kit man. All the kit men that we've had over the time there as well. But obviously, I did get a couple of requests not to do any knee slides. I once did. But it was quite torn at one point, and but no, it was obviously all the clubs belonging obviously after it. So I don't have the outfit now. If that's what you're asking.
No. Fair enough. That would be one interesting auction if we were to auction off one of the Eddie the Eagle outfits. Dave, so have you got any questions for Max on his time as Eddie the Eagle?
Well, just I thought at the start when you were beginning to ask Max about his dark past as Eddie, I thought you're on the way to saying, so how did the move come about? Did you know anyone at the club? As if before you became Eddie. But did you get any? Did you get involved in any like big celebrations in front of S1?
Oh yeah, loads.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That must have felt good.
honestly, they were, I mean, I loved so much of it, but they were like, that was like the icing on the cherry, the icing on the cake, you know. I remember Macaulay Vaughan getting his first goal, I think his 18th birthday against Peterborough, being involved in that. There was one point, there was the whole Eddie Cam as well. Actually, I was getting stuck in with the players. Like, that was the time like Curtis Guthrie was on guard and
Oh no,
We don't talk about him.
sorry. Obviously, Brennan Dickinson was there as well. He got quite a few, so a little bit
we
like
like
that. There we go. Yeah, yeah. You can cut out Curtis Guthrie. It's fine. But yeah,
Wish I could, mate. Wish I could.
But no, yeah. So the goal celebration was just fantastic. And you know, being a Colchester fan since I was a little kid, yeah, it's like, you know, you always dream, don't you, youngster, you want to play for your favourite club. I'm terrible at football, so that was the next best thing I was ever going to get. And so, yeah, it was brilliant.
So when you went
Amazing.
up to obviously the drumming in S1, at what point was it up the stairs running that you thought this was a really bad idea but had to keep going to the top?
I was probably about halfway through. I mean, luckily, I didn't wear like other mascots do, like actual big old mascot clown boots. I just wore some studs at the time. And my favourite one, I can't remember what season it was now, but it was a tough season. We got relegated from League One, and I think it was the last game of the season. It must have been, I think Rochdale was the last home game. And yeah, the fans just started saying, Eddie on the drums, Eddie on the drums. I said, why not? I just started to spin up there, and it was brilliant. I loved it. I did it a few times since. It was yeah, great. I think somebody got a video of it, and yeah, I thought I just found my family that and they wet themselves. So yeah, it was brilliant.
Interesting origin story of the Eddie moving from the big mascot shoes to boots is I recall being at Layer Road when we were doing the penalty competition at half time when they get like the kids on the pitch to take penalties. Eddie kept falling over trying to save the shots, and it was announced that maybe he should get some boots. Next week had a pair of Predators on, mate. So I suspect that there may have been performance related issues in terms of wearing the larger shoes. Any mascot races as well?
Yeah. There's quite a few on the open days. I've won quite a few of them. That's brilliant. My favourite one though was actually, I think it was at the Essex Cricket Club. They've got their own Eddie the Eagle, and believe it or not, they also had Temple Shrimp over there as well. And I had quite a few local mascots down there. Luckily, it was very tactful in terms of they all had the big old mascot clown boots. I didn't. I had the actual football boots that I had. So right in front of all the Essex cricket fans, got out first place win, and getting booed heavily by them, but I was loving it all. I was in the element, and it was brilliant. So yeah, I was just milking it, and loved getting booed that day.
Brilliant, I love it. I also used to enjoy the fact that, and it would have been you that did this because the timelines match up where you'd the Carlton dance, which you have already alluded to the GIF. That was a regular move in your repertoire, and you also used to sort of bend over in front of away fans or players and sort of ruffle your feathers a little bit. I recall that too. Which, yeah.
That's what I mean.
So I like the fact that you got stuck in for the whole time you were there. But anyway,
It was,
no,
I'd
go
say
for it.
just like any chance for us to, try and win, I took it. Like if we were like 2-0 up, the ball came to me. Oh, I'm going to pass it to the player. Oops, I missed it. I've walked away, kind of thing. So it was just great to do little things like that.
You're the origin of marginal gains.
Oh, it was a good
Absolutely.
time. Great fun.
Brilliant, guys. Thank you very much for joining me and talking all things Colchester United this week. Si, Dave, Max, lovely to speak to you, and we'll chat soon, I'm sure.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me on.
And that's all for this week's Beyond the Barside. A big thanks to Si, Dave, Max and Connor for joining me, as well as Sam for the lovely music there. And thanks to you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to give us a like, share it around and leave a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple. It really helps us raise our profile on that format, and it helps us reach more U's fans. And we'll be back next week with more Col U chat. So until then, up the U's.